"Tell him I'm your wife," said the millionaire's wife, and her words left the whole room in silence. The boardroom was silent except for the faint hum of the city far below. Dozens of executives sat around the long glass table, eyes flickering toward the man standing nervously at the end of it. His name was Ethan Blake, a talented but struggling architect who had poured his entire soul into a project that could either change his life forever or destroy the little he had left. Across from him sat Richard Hale, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the country, known for his ruthless deals and cold efficiency. But Ethan's focus wasn't just on him. It was on the elegant woman seated beside Richard. Her name was Elena Hale, the millionaire's wife. Dressed in a simple cream dress, her presence radiated quiet grace. There was something about her eyes, though, an empathy that didn't match the hardness of the man beside her. Ethan didn't know why, but from the moment he entered the room, he felt as if she saw through him, past the nervous smile, straight into the exhaustion and quiet desperation beneath that it had been a hard year. After his wife passed away, Ethan had been raising their 6-year-old son, Noah, alone while trying to keep his small architecture firm afloat. He had entered this design competition for Hale Enterprises out of pure hope, the hope that if he won, he could finally give his son stability. But the odds were never in his favor. He didn't have the resources, the connections, or the time to compete with the giants. Still, he'd worked through sleepless nights, drawing and redrawing until his hands ached. Now, as Richard flipped through the pages of his presentation, Ethan could see the disinterest in his eyes. The other architects had come with teams, models, and glossy pitches. Ethan had come alone, with nothing but sincerity and sketches born from pure dedication. "This design is unconventional," Richard said finally, his tone sharp. "No guarantees. Too risky. I prefer architects who understand profit, not emotion." Ethan swallowed hard. "With all due respect, sir, I believe architecture should speak to people. A home isn't just walls, it's a story. A place where families grow, where people heal. This design is personal. It's built to mean something." A murmur went around the table. Some executives exchanged amused glances. Richard smirked. "You sound like a poet, not a businessman." Before Ethan could respond, Elena's voice cut through the air, calm, firm, yet commanding enough to still the entire room. "Tell him I'm your wife," she said suddenly. Every head turned toward her. Even Richard froze, his pen midair. Ethan blinked, confused. "I'm sorry." Elena met his eyes, her expression soft but resolute. "Tell him I'm your wife," she repeated. "Tell him that this home you designed, you built it for me." The room went silent. Richard's jaw tightened. "Elena, what are you?" But she ignored him. Rising from her seat, she walked toward Ethan, her heels clicking against the floor. She stopped beside him and turned to face the stunned executives. "Gentlemen, what you see here isn't just a set of drawings. It's vision. It's empathy. This man designed something that feels alive. Something I would want to live in." Her words hit like thunder. Ethan's heart pounded. He had no idea what was happening, but as Elena continued, he realized she wasn't saving him. She was challenging them. "I've seen hundreds of projects," she said, her voice steady. "All impressive, all expensive, but none of them had soul. This one does. You all see numbers. I see a home that breathes, that welcomes, that heals. Isn't that what your company's vision claims to stand for?" The room fell quiet again. Richard shifted uncomfortably, his ego clearly bruised. For a long moment, no one dared to speak. Finally, he muttered, "You're defending him rather passionately, my dear." Elena smiled faintly. "I defend what's right." "Maybe that's something you've forgotten, Richard." It was a dangerous thing to say, but the power in her tone made everyone listen. She turned back to Ethan, her eyes warm. "Don't give up," she whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. When the meeting ended, Ethan walked out with his folder clutched to his chest, unsure whether to feel humiliated or hopeful. But just as he reached the elevator, a voice called out behind him. "Mr. Blake." It was Elena. She handed him a card. "I know my husband. He'll reject you today, but I won't let that be the end. Come to this address tomorrow morning. I think we can do something better." The next day, Ethan arrived at the address and was stunned to find a beautiful private estate overlooking the ocean. Elena greeted him personally. "I'm starting my own foundation," she explained, "for sustainable, affordable housing projects. I want you to lead the design." Ethan was speechless. "But why me?" Elena smiled gently. "Because you remind me of who I used to be, someone who believed in people before profit. I saw in your eyes what this world needs more of, heart. Years passed. The partnership between Ethan and Elena changed thousands of lives. Together, they built homes for struggling families, schools for children who had none, and community centers that restored hope. Elena's foundation became a symbol of compassion in a world obsessed with wealth, and one day, during a ceremony honoring their latest project, a journalist asked her why she had chosen Ethan in that first meeting. She smiled and said softly, "Because when the world laughed at his sincerity, I saw strength. And sometimes, you have to pull someone out of the shadows so they can light up the world." Ethan, standing beside her with his son, looked at her with deep gratitude. The words she had once spoken, "Tell him I'm your wife," had changed everything. They had turned humiliation into hope, rejection into purpose, and a single act of courage into a lifetime of impact. Sparkle's inspiring message: true success isn't about wealth or power. It's about recognizing value where others see none. One act of faith, one word of kindness, can change a person's destiny. Sometimes, all it takes is one voice brave enough to speak when the world stays silent.